Hey there, y'all, and welcome back to the kitchen. Today I'm making fried pork chops, fried potatoes and onions, white soup beans, and a brownie. We don't eat like this every day, but just every once in a while, Travis likes some old-timey country cooking. And I'll cook it up today, and we'll have a Sunday dinner on the table in no time. So come on and join us in the kitchen as we start cooking up this Sunday dinner. Okay, here's what we're going to be using for our Sunday dinner. We're going to be using some pork chops with the bone in, some all-purpose flour to batter them in. We're going to dip them in milk first, then in the batter, and into my flour, this is what we're going to add. Some total seasoning, 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of paprika, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. And to fry the pork chops in, we're going to be using olive oil. So first we've got to add it to our iron skillet and let it get a good temperature before you add your pork chops in. We're going to add about a half an inch to our iron skillet. And I know this oil costs a lot, but you can strain it and save this oil once you use it to fry your pork chops. You can strain it and save it in a mason jar, and you can go back and use it for fried potatoes, anything you want to fry. Next time if you fry chicken, it'd be a good oil to use when you fry chicken to save money. Go ahead and turn your heat on a medium high and let your oil begin to heat up. I've got all my seasonings in my flour, and now I'm just going to give it a good mix. Okay, for this part, we're just going to take the pork chop, dip it in the milk, and coat it, and then dip it in the flour. And then we're going to put it in our oil that's getting hot. Let it drain the milk off so it don't get all in your flour mixture. And just put it down in there and coat it real good, and just give it a little massage, and that gets your pork chop coated thicker if you just give that little push down on top of it like that. And it gets it real good and thick, so you have a good crust on your pork chop. I'll see if I can hold it up and let y'all see. See how thicker your crust will be if you just take your hand and just pat it down a little bit. You get a real good thick crust like that. And now I'm just going to lay my battered pork chop on this platter while I do a couple of them while my oil's getting hot. And what you can use is one of these if you want to, some kind of little spatula or whatever you've got. Even a fork will work to pat them down so it don't get your fingers all dirty with the flour built up on them. But I'll probably go to using my fingers. That's what I'm used to. But if you wanted to use something to help you press them down in that flour, that'll work too. And now you have a good coated fried pork chop. And I'll have to do more than one batch because I don't want to crowd my skillet. I want them to fry not being crowded so I can lay them good and flat. I'm going to take a little pinch of my flour and test my oil. Oh yeah, it's almost ready. We're going to fry 3 at a time. That way I can lay my pork chops out flat in my iron skillet to give them plenty of room to cook. Okay, my oil has come up to the temperature that I want it, so I'm going to go ahead now and start adding my pork chops in. And do it real careful so you don't get splattered by that hot oil. And now I'm just going to try to get them all 3 down in the oil because I want them to be flat. I'm going to use this bread pan right here that has this rack that I'm going to cool my pork chops on. That'll help keep them crispy if you have a cookie sheet with a cookie rack in it like that. Okay, now we're going to flip them. If they're getting too brown too fast, just judge your oil and get it to the temperature you want it because you're going to have to let them have time to cook all throughout the inside and also get the crust a pretty golden brown. So just keep your grease at the temperature that your stove works with on making a pretty crust, but also getting them cooked through. Our pork chops are around 1/2 inch. This is how Travis gets them to cut them whenever he finds them on sale. He likes to get them cut to around, I believe that's 1/2 inch chop. Okay, now we're going to place our pork chops over on the cooling rack. Now for the next batch. Just drench it good down in your whole milk or whatever milk you choose to use. And then take and just like press it down in your flour. And that will help you get a good thick coat for your crust. Don't shake it off. Let it all stay on. And that's what you'll get in the results. cooking 3 at a time, you can get them all in your skillet at once. And it leaves them plenty of room to do their cooking. Don't overcrowd your skillet. To go with our pork chops, we're having fried potatoes and onions. Let's get them started. We're just going to start by peeling our potatoes. And for fried potatoes, you could use ash potatoes, you could use yellow gold potatoes, Yukon Gold, I believe is what they call them. You could even use red potatoes. Any kind of potato is good with a fried onion. I'll get these peeled and bring y'all back. Where I was talking about saving the oil, I won't be able to save it this time. I had so many pork chops to fry, I about used my oil all up. So I will be starting off with new oil in my fried potatoes. And now we're going to go wash them. Now that I have them washed, I'm going to fill my bowl back up with ice cold water. And now we're going to take our potato, and I'm going to show y'all if I can get it turned around here so you can see the size of the little slices that I'm going to cut for our fried potatoes. I'm going to cut them about like that right there. I'm trying to keep each slice around the same size. That way you can see the size of my potato slices. Now we're going to get all these cut up and I'll bring you back. When I get my potatoes sliced, I'm going to place it back in the cold water, and that will keep your potatoes from turning while you're getting them ready until you get ready to do your recipe. Just dump them back in that cold water and that'll help keep them from turning brown. Now we're going to do this one. Now I have all my potatoes sliced and cut, and I'm letting them soak in the cold water so they don't turn colors and turn brown on me until I get ready to start frying them. Now we're going to cut up our onion. So now let's cut up and dice our onion. And for these fried potatoes, we're using a white onion. You could use a red or purple onion, whichever ones you call that. You could use yellow onions, or you could even use just green onions. But we're going to be using this white one today. A white, big, pretty onion. That's going to be good, y'all. We're going to just start by cutting it in half. And then I'm going to just turn it over and do real thin little slices. And once you get it sliced, you'll want to separate it. You don't want them to be still stuck together when you put them in your potatoes. So go ahead at this point and separate your onions. Oh, and this is the point that your eyes will be watering. Now we have our big white onion cut up and our big bowl of potatoes ready to start frying up fried potatoes and onions. Skillet to fry our potatoes and onions. You want to put a good amount because it's going to take a lot of oil to fry those potatoes. Now we're going to strain the water off our potatoes. And I'm going to rinse this bowl out to get all that, you can see the starch that's come off of the potatoes while they're soaking. And then just give them a rinse. And now we're going to let them sit there and drain for just a few minutes. Now that they've drained, I'm going to put them back in, placing them back in the bowl. And now that I've got my potatoes drained and dried, I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. This is pink salt. You could use whatever salt you like. And this is fine black pepper. And this right here is garlic powder. And it's a real powder. It's some that Travis bought. And I love it. We've had it for a while now, but this is like a ground garlic powder. And now we're just going to toast. Once I have all that on there, I'm going to take about a teaspoon of olive oil and just over the top of my potatoes. And now we're going to toss them and coat all the potatoes with the seasonings. Just coat them all good, toss them, and just get each potato coated with your black pepper, salt, and garlic powder. And while you're doing this, go ahead and turn your skillet on and let your oil be coming to temperature. Okay, now that we have all our potatoes coated with our mixture and our onion is ready to go in, our potatoes are ready to go in, and we've got our oil heated up, we're going to go ahead now and put them in the iron skillet. Not quite ready yet. Okay, my oil is ready. This is a way I test my oil sometime. Y'all might want to try this. Whatever you're fixing to cook, just put a little piece in there. And if it starts frying, that means you're ready to go. If it don't sizzle and bubble like that, you need to wait a few more minutes. I'm going to start by adding my onion in first. Part of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of my potatoes. Probably just go ahead and add all of them. And if you've got juice in the bottom of your bowl, you don't want to add that. So you'll just have to pick them up out like this and place them in your skillet. Because even though I drained that juice off of the potatoes, I still have a little bit that's still trying to come off of the potatoes. And now we've just got to let those start cooking down. We brought out the big girl for this one. This is too many in this one iron skillet, so I'm going to add some oil to this one, get it heated up, and then I'm going to place them in this. Now we've got them coming to a good heat, and the potatoes are smelling delicious, y'all. Okay, we've got our skillet changed. We're using our big iron skillet now because we've had so many. These fry up, and we're going to have fried potatoes and onions with fried pork chops and white navy soup beans. Now we've just got to let these cook up till they get fork tender. I'm going to place the lid on top, and that'll let it steam up, and the steam will help make your potatoes tender. Keep an eye on them and make sure they're not sticking. Now at this point, add just a little bit of water and it'll help them steam even a little bit better to get them fork tender. Got our soup beans ready, and now for our dessert, we're going to make some brownies. So let's get started. We're going to start by spraying our little 9x9 casserole dish. A good coat so the brownies don't stick. That's a pretty pan, isn't it? My daughter-in-law Devin gave me that. And we're going to try to cook brownies in it today. Okay, I've got this one right here. We're going to mix them up in. I'm going to go ahead and add my mix. And keep your box for your trash. That's always where I put my trash when I'm making a cake or a box cake or brownies. And now we're going to add our 1 egg. And this is one of my little chicken eggs from my Easter egger chickens they gave me for my birthday. One-third cup of oil. And 1/3 cup of water. It's what the recipe calls for. Gotta fix my whisk. Okay, and now we're just gonna whisk all this together. And I've made one of these box brownie mixes one time. Travis bought 2 or 3 when he bought these, and it's a thicker type brownie mix. It's not as thin as some of them, so you got to actually put some muscles in it. To get it all combined together. And it's a walnut base brownie mix. See the little walnuts already in there? And it comes with a pack of the caramel sauce. We'll be using that when we get the brownies done. Now we're going to put our brownie mix in our pan. Making sure we get all of it out of our bowl. And now you just spread your brownie mix out in your pan and get it as even as you can. And now, I read the directions. This is when you add your caramel sauce. So let's get this cut. And now we're just going to take the pack of the caramel sauce and go back and forth on your brownies. And now I'm going to take a little knife and just give it a swirl. And now we're going to bake them for 35 minutes on 350. Now I got my fried potatoes done, and we're going to take them out and put them on a paper towel. I hope y'all enjoyed this video on a country Sunday dinner. If you do, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.